There are two more concepts that are available throughout the motion component types: immediate and achieved components. When looking at a path, there are markers which can define and execute changes in altitude, camera direction, and even execute commands. However, immediate and achieved components allow you to run certain commands when you are en route to a key location, as well as ensure that certain commands are not run until a specific location is reached. These can also be used in heading components. Now, to understand immediate versus achieved, it's best to look at an example. So let's go back to that example with the path where we have 4 waypoints and an approach. If we double click on the approach, so we can see the altitude and we can also see the speed, but if we click on the advanced functions, we can see something called the immediate component and the achieved component. Now, if we look at the details of these in a little more detail, the immediate component will be executed before this component is achieved. And if we look at the achieved component will be executed after this component is achieved and after the immediate component is finished, if one exists. So what they're basically saying here is that the commands that you run on the achieved side will not be run until it reaches that location, and any other commands that are set in the immediate component have been run. Now, a good way to use immediate components is to have it run all of the setup commands for the drone or for the camera as it's moving en route to its first waypoint or location. So, as an example, let's use the settings reset component, which is available in the Dronelink repository. If I set that component, which is actually a list of commands, as the immediate component, it will run all of these commands en route to the approach. So we have a drone reset series of commands, we have a camera reset series of commands, and we have a gimbal reset series of commands. And all those things will be run on the way to the approach. Now, as far as the achieved component is concerned, this is usually a good time to execute the camera start command. We can click on achieved, and we can either search using the command search capability within Dronelink, or we can go to command and then camera command and then find the camera start capture. So at this point, what I've basically done is as it's on its way to the approach, it will run all of those settings reset commands, and then once it reaches the approach, it will start the camera and start either shooting images or shooting video. Now, this is applicable not only for paths, but for other motion components. So let's say that we added in an orbit around this pool. The approach of the orbit acts just like the approach of the path. We can click on this, we can click on the immediate component, and we could set up a unique set of settings specific to this orbit, maybe for a time lapse or for another type of images, and then set the achieved component for taking images.